Hi, I'm the Space Quest historian. Let's talk about assholes for a second. You know, the kind of people who will crop up every once in a while on Twitter or in your mentions somewhere saying that women are ruining games, or SJWs are ruining video games, or politics should stay out of video games. You know, the kind of idiots that inevitably crop up in conversations one way or another. And from my perspective, they seem to come in two flavors. There are the spineless followers who have somehow wound up in some community where that sort of parlance is the norm, and they're just parroting the the lines about how casual games are somehow ruining their lives. Because they want to fit in, because they don't want to, feel like the outsiders, but they don't actually believe or subscribe to much of this nonsense. And then there's the other category, the slightly more insidious ones, the ones that actually believe that women have no place in games and minorities should just try harder if they want better representation, or those really the kind of people who draw diagrams of conspiracies and post them on 4chan, those kind of people. And when I see these people, I always think, like, what happened? How did you get like this? What went wrong? Who hurt you like this? Show me on the tiny little doll where someone poked you in the ribs and told you were a loser. And I'm no sociologist. I don't even know if a sociologist is the sort of person who figures this sort of shit out. But I would wager a guess that part of the blame could be found squarely in 90s gaming magazine print advertisements. See, I don't know if you guys were alive in the 90s, whoever's watching this right now, but advertisement in the 90s was very much aimed squarely at the male segment, gaming advertising particularly. It was very much aimed at young teenagers to early adults, and they were very much always about how you weren't a real man and you would never get laid if you didn't have this game, if you didn't play this multiplayer, if you didn't have this peripheral. There was a lot of talk about demeaning sexuality and telling you had a small wiener and you were a pussy or you were a wuss if you didn't something. This was the accepted discourse in 90s gaming advertising. And I would wager, again, not a professional in the field or anything, but I would wager that some easily susceptible people who grew up during the 90s and looked at this advertising might have caught on to the message a bit too much, and that might be why we have some of these assholes in the gaming community today. So just for funsies, and as sort of just to sort of refresh my own memory, I asked my good friends DOS Nostalgic and Decaf Jedi on Twitter to send me some examples, some of their favorite examples of 90s gaming print advertising that, backs up my claim, really, or just examples of really, really awful shit. So let's go through a couple of them together, shall we? Okay, this first one, I've never heard of this game, but this one I just pilfered from Decaf Jedi's Twitter. He's been posting a couple of these. Decaf Jedi, by the way, is a professor in political science, and he actually teaches a class on representation in video games and such at the University of West Virginia. He's a really interesting kind of guy, and he also has a great sense of humor, and he was also the creator of the first ever Space Quest fan site. That's neither here nor there. This, however, I've never heard of gender wars, but the copy, just the advertising copy, while the men were in the bar, Myrtle, Dodd, Eva, and Nancy cooked up a deadly plot on their secretly installed CD-ROM. I didn't know you could do that, but okay. Their mission? To obliterate the male species. Oh no, those filthy women. And I will bet you I'll bet you $1 million there was not a single woman on the design team for this game. This advertisement from Game Shark, I don't know if you remember Game Shark, they made these sort of cheat cartridges, like you'd plug them into your Nintendo or your Sega or whatever, and it would enable some cheat. It'd go in and rewrite some stuff on your game cartridges. Like you plugged in your game cartridge, you plugged the Game Shark in on top of it, and stuff would happen. Usually it would just break your game. And this bit of advertisement, I mean, the slogan in particular is just all shades of shady, really. I don't think abuse the power would fly in today's society, in today's enlightened society, but this was apparently the norm for the 90s. Yeah, let's just stick a babe in the Fifth Element suit, give her a couple of fangs and some guns, and abuse the power. Yeah. And this one is one of my favorites, if you could call it that. This is I believe it's a British gaming magazine that has a before and after picture. The before picture is this greasy idiot who is reading, what the hell is that? Polo Derby Classic. This is very British. Oh dear, this rather pathetic soul can only dream of real social acceptance. His lack of charisma is to be pitied. And then he subscribed to Total Magazine, and all of a sudden this bird appeared next to him. Bird is a British slang for a woman, in case you didn't know. A quick read of Total, and our hero has to beat off chicks with a big stick. Yes, apparently. So you see what I mean? This kind of discourse that if you don't do this or this or this, no one will ever fuck you. You are a weakling, a wimp. Your testicles deserve to be chopped off and fed to the nearest sewer rat or some shit. And this one, hottest chicks ever. This is an advertisement for Gamefly, which apparently is a pre-Steam sort of online, not even online, it's sort of a rental business. Like, you pick your games, they send them to you in the mail, and you play them, and then you return them. Very dodgy shit. And then there's this one from Eidos. It's an ad for Tomb Raider, the first Tomb Raider game, I believe, and it just straight up calls the reader a wuss. And here's a slogan that I think is very much symptomatic of the 90s. Get in touch with your gun-toting, testosterone-pumping, cold-blooded murdering side. There was a lot of this stuff in the 90s as well. A lot of, well, we all know you're a complete fucking psychopath on the inside. So why don't you play our game and get out there and be the psychopath you've always wanted to be? This ad from Postal, let me see. Yeah, these ads for Running with Scissors Postal, the first game. Oh, he was always such a nice, quiet boy. What went wrong? We just started dating 3 weeks ago. He seemed so happy, and then he went and played Postal, and then everyone just fucking died. This big spread they had, where at the bottom here it says, the game every gamer wanted and no one else dared to make. Yeah. Big fucking whoop, and no surprise, Running with Scissors turned out to be just a bunch of absolute assholes. And here's another one. It's for Philips Games. Apparently they made games at one point, yes. Psychologists say inside every 18 to 35-year-old male, women need not apply, there lies a potential psychotic killer. Can he come out and play? Because we've got games for you manly men who like to destroy things and beat things and then go home and just slap your dick all over the room. Your room where it's just a collection of tissues and piss in the corner, and you sleep on the cold hardwood floor because you're such a man. All you have is your computer and your bucket of piss. And this mindset of the 90s. Here's one from Interplay. These are basically just all the CEOs, the founders, all men, of course, all dressed in black, all sunglasses. We've got, let's see here, we've got BioWare, we've got Tantrum, Black Isle Studios, Shiny Entertainment, and they're all sitting around the pool, and the only female presence are these models in swimsuits behind them, because women don't make games and they certainly don't play them, but they are in the vicinity of the real gamers, the gamers that have giant dicks. Good God, I fucking hate this nonsense. And when I asked Jess on Twitter, Decaf Jedi, what's your favorite example, he sent me this one from 3DFX. There are two kinds of gamers in this world: the ones who still play on consoles, and the ones who've actually seen breasts. Fuck you. And of course, if you wanted a clean insight into the advertising mentality and the gamer mentality of the 90s and how women have no place in it whatsoever, you need look no further than this one DOS Nostalgic sent me for Battle Cruiser 3000 AD, a game I have no idea what is and probably was very, very awful. At least the advertising for it was. She really wants it. There's no screenshots. There's no ad copy what the game is about. I have no idea what the game is about. The cover tells me nothing. Get fucked. Just get absolutely fucked. So I'm glad that we have at least come a little bit further than this. It's been a while since I've seen advertisement just being this blatantly awful. At least most advertisement these days seems to be paying YouTubers to promote a game that they really have no intention of playing, but they pretend like they've played it for weeks and weeks. And it's always some free-to-play mobile bullshit. I don't subscribe to any news, gaming magazines or whatever. It's been a long time since I've read them, but I at least have an inkling of hope that we've come somewhat further. And then the assholes show up in mentions, in YouTube comments, on Reddit, on, well, 4chan. And these assholes, either they must have grown up with this sort of advertising, or they were children of people who somehow grew up with this sort of advertising, and probably other sociological factors have played into this, but my fucking God. This is 2020, people. Can we at least take a mild shot at evolving, getting beyond this idiotic mindset, and just be happy that video games and computer games are so popular that everyone wants to play them. Everyone has their favorite genres. There's so many little niche genres that there's a game out there for everyone. There's casual games, hidden object games, adventure games, shooter games, FPSs, real-time strategies, and a myriad of different melding pots of different genres coming together. And of course, everyone. It's not just white males in their early 20s who play games anymore. We have to get past this fucking mindset. Everyone plays games. Games are for everyone. And if you happen to have watched this video this far and actually subscribe to this utter horse shit of a video game mentality from the late 90s, my only advice to you is to just grow the fuck up. And then shut up until you have. Thank you. And I'll see you guys around the Chrono Stream. Bye.